Let me hit record. Mouse, if you can hit that for me. So I have been spending a lot of time in Shift lately. And I started out this morning by going back to the beginning of the book and looking at all of the different topics that are in the book and asked myself a question. If I was going to focus on one thing, what would that one thing be? And, you know, that question comes from Gary Keller's book, The One Thing. And the focusing question is, what's the one thing that I can do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier, unnecessary? So what's the one thing that I can do such that by doing it, everything in my real estate business would become easier, unnecessary? And the answer is screaming at me. The answer is master lead generation. That's the one thing. So I'm going to spend a lot of time on pages 49 through page 108. And if you look at those pages, it is lead generation and lead conversion. If you're not hitting your goals, Joey, it's either a lead generation conversation or it's a lead conversion conversation. So Jonte, what that means is if somebody comes to me and says, hey, coach, I'm not hitting my goals, the first question I'm going to ask them is, talk to me about your lead generation. What does that look like? When are you making calls? How are you lead generating? How many people are you talking to every day? What do those conversations sound like? Now, how do we know if it's lead generation or lead conversion? Well, simple. If you're not hitting your standard for lead generation, if the standard's 20 conversations and you're averaging 5, well, then it's a lead generation conversation. Talk to more people. Simple and not easy. Talk to more people. Now, if you're talking to 20 people and yet you're still not hitting your goals, now it's a lead conversion conversation. How much time are you spending investing, mastering the conversations of real estate? Tell me how you're overcoming objections. When somebody says, I don't want to sell my home, what's your response? We spent a half hour yesterday, this group here in Coral Springs, practicing that one response. I don't want to sell my home. True or true? True. Right. And we came up with a list of, I don't know how many questions, but a lot of questions that we could ask someone who says, I don't want to sell my home. Because you can't motivate people to sell their home. You can aid people to sell their home. Remember, people will not change their mind, but they will make a new decision based on new information. I don't want to sell my home. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Please? No, I don't want to sell my home. It's like your 5-year-old who says, can I have ice cream? No, please, no, please, no. You know, if you're an awful parent like I was, you'll tell your kids, okay, yes, you can have ice cream. And then Lacey would go, really? I'm like, no, you think I'm going to just change my mind? Terrible, right? All right, so today I'm on pages 49 through 52. And your homework assignment is to read pages 49 through 52 12 times. I want you to read it 12 times.
Before tomorrow?
Sure. Diane said before tomorrow. Yeah, sure. Read it 12 times.
Which page again, John?
49 through 52. Now, here's the notes that I took from pages 49 through 52. As leads become fewer, you must recognize the situation. I shared with you yesterday the difference year over year in closed sales just for Coral Springs Parkland from 2021 to 2022. And sales are down. Yes or yes?
Yes.
They're down considerably, aren't they? Yes. You must recognize the situation and make a more concerted effort to generate them. Fewer leads mean fewer listings, means fewer sales. You have to recognize that and make a more concerted effort to generate them. We talked about an era of extra effort a couple days ago. We are in an era of extra effort. We are not in an era of average effort. When the market is good, average effort works. You'll still succeed when the market is good. When the market goes from more to less, average effort is going to deliver less than average results, and it may lead to real estate agents getting out of the business. It did back in 2007, 8, and 9. And this time could be like that time. History usually does repeat. You can't sit back. You must be more rigorous and resolute in your lead generation than ever before, and more so than anyone else. Now, what that means, Denise, is there's fewer people selling their home, and yet there's more real estate agents today than there was a year ago. You have more agents competing over less business. It becomes more competitive. This whole idea around getting your fair share, that doesn't exist. There is no such thing as your fair share. Get your unfair share. You have to be more rigorous and resolute in your lead generation than ever before, and more so than anyone else. Motivation is the cause. When a market shifts, it's typically because motivation has shifted. And all that means is we have fewer buyers and sellers that are ready, willing, and able to buy and sell today than we did a year ago. Now, what happens is it's like we've borrowed buyers and sellers from the future. There were people in October, November, and December who sold their home who weren't planning on selling their home. But they looked at the market and they said, now's a good time. I was going to wait until next summer. However, based on what I'm seeing, I'm going to go ahead and make a move now. So we have buyers and sellers who were going to buy and sell in the first and second quarter of 2022, who bought and sold in the third and fourth quarter of 2021. We were borrowing buyers and sellers from the future. You guys understand that? Okay. And it's happened before. It'll happen again. It's happening now. All right. You can motivate someone to help them better understand why they should consider buying or selling in this market, but you can't motivate them. Now, how do we motivate someone to make a new decision?
Getting them more information.
Okay, getting them more information. How else?
I was going to say
Providing more value. What else?
Showing.
Showing. What else?
No, showing pain.
Find their pain.
Find their pain. Okay.
Asking questions?
Oh, there it is. Luciana is my new favorite. Ask questions. Some of you are going, well, duh.
That was all inclusive.
That was so right in front of me. How did I not get that? That's all he ever talks about. We're sick of him talking about that. Ask questions. Your only choice is to up your lead generation activities in order to find more buyers and sellers who are ready, willing, and able. Up your game. You want to make a new shirt? Up yours. How's that?
Cute. It's cute.
Oh, no, don't do that. Time on task over time equals mastery. Simply put, the more time you spend on lead generation, the better you will get. And the better you get, the more you will enjoy it. So if you're thinking, yeah, John, I hear you, and this whole lead generation idea, I don't like that. I don't like to lead generate. I don't like getting on the phone and talking to people. I don't like going out and knocking on doors. I just don't like it. Okay, so the solution to that is the more you do it, the better you're going to get. The better you get, the more you will like it. Time on task over time equals mastery. And Juanita, I promise you, when you've mastered lead generation, it's game on. Let's go. I love this. Let's go. It's fun. Let me get on the phone with a difficult homeowner who's given me lots of objections. I'm like, bring it. I've got it. I promise you, I've got more responses than you've got objections. Somebody's going to win this script contest. Either you are or I am. And because I've mastered my game, I'm confident it's going to be me. Now, does that mean that I'm going to get every appointment? No. I'm still going to have more failure than success. And I'm totally cool with that because I focus on success. I don't focus on failure. I don't know if Mike Topo is on the call today, and this is Mike's favorite quote that I've shared hundreds of times. It's from Tom Hopkins, and it's, we are not judged by the number of times we fail, but by the number of times we succeed. And the number of times we succeed is in direct proportion to the number of times we can fail and keep trying. We are not judged by the number of times we fail. We are judged by the number of times we succeed. Think baseball. Somebody with a 300 lifetime batting average is in the Hall of Fame. And they failed 7 out of 10 times. If I said Babe Ruth, those of you who like baseball, you immediately think old dude who hit a lot of home runs. 714 to be exact. Now, how many times did he strike out? Nobody knows the answer. It's 1,440 times.
1,440. Wow.
Twice as many home runs as he hit. Jonathan, talk to me.
Yeah, to bring up a more recent thing, Tom Brady lost 3 Super Bowls, but no one talks about that.
That's a great point. Yeah, you bring up Tom Brady, that's going to start a lot of conversations, right? Whether you like him or you don't. He is the GOAT. He is absolutely the greatest of all time. Tell me a quarterback that's better. Tell me. No, don't, because we don't have enough time to go down that road. Dan Marino has 0 Super Bowls. Sorry, it's not Dan Marino. Sorry, not Dan Marino. Nope, not doing that. Moving on.
It'll be great.
Having enough time to lead generate is not your issue. So for those of you who, what we're doing, guys, is we're getting rid of the myths. We're getting rid of the limiting beliefs. We're getting rid of all of your excuses. And the next excuse that I hear after I hear I don't like to lead generate is I don't have enough time. Here's what Gary says. Having enough time to lead generate is not your issue. The issue is making time and protecting it. I have no idea. Somewhere between 49 and 52. These are notes that I took in my journal. Yeah, I like the idea that you have to go find it. Jonathan.
Yes, Jason Catcher said something about that in his class. There's a difference between being busy and being productive.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of agents need to learn when they're being productive versus when they're being busy.
Yep. What's the bold law? Don't mistake movement with achievement. You guys think I study these bold laws on the wall behind me? Do you think, do I, whenever I say, what's the bold law? Do I typically have it ready to go, or do I have to go, where is that? Internalize it. Okay. Real estate. For those of you who wanted to know, Diane found it. We can move on now. Real estate is a script and dialogue skill-based business. Excuse me. Real estate is a script and dialogue skill-based business. If you're playing baseball and you're playing shortstop, we expect you to be able to pick up a ground ball and throw it to first base. Skill. What's that? Skill. Now, if you're coaching your favorite baseball team, we're not going there either, and the shortstop can't pick up ground balls and can't throw them to first base, are they going to stay in the game? No, they're not. They're going to sit on the bench. It's a skill that we expect them to have. Well, you, as a successful real estate agent, we expect you to have the skills that lead to success in real estate. And being passive, waiting for people to call you, I want to sell my home, is not a skill. It doesn't take skill to answer your phone and say, okay, I'll be there tomorrow at 4. Sorry, it doesn't. It takes skill to convert, I don't want to sell my home, to, can you come over tomorrow at 4? Shanice proved that before we started our call today. She kept an appointment from somebody who wanted to cancel using skill. Now, who did she have talking in her ear? A coach. If you want better results, then you must commit to getting onto the path of mastering the conversations of real estate. That's it. How much time are you spending investing in mastering the conversations of real estate? So interesting. I was reading this and I thought, I know I read something in the noticer on this. So I went to one of my favorite authors and I asked, what does Andy Andrews have to say on this subject? And here's what Andy said. You can do whatever you want to do. You can accomplish whatever you want to accomplish. You are never lacking funds. Neither is the calendar your enemy. When you need most to accomplish something great in your life, you are only lacking an idea. Time and money are also a matter of perspective. Okay, talk to me. What'd you hear? Give me some ahas.